Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video comparison, an updated version for a huge versus matchup with regards to television series and AMC. Following up with the Rick Grimes versus Walter White video I did recently. If you guys missed that, it's in the channel. Feel free to check it out. We're going to be comparing, we're going to be doing a versus type matchup. Which is the better television series? The Walking Dead from AMC or AMC's Breaking Bad? Alright, good stuff. So I have sort of done videos like this in the past before, but it makes sense for me to go ahead and compare the two again now. Now that Breaking Bad's over, of course, finishing last year, and The Walking Dead, of course, is done for this season. The Walking Dead, of course, has had 4 seasons at the time of filming of this video, and Breaking Bad did have its 5. Now, even though that is the case, based on the episode guides, The Walking Dead has had 51 episodes, and Breaking Bad has had 62. So not that many more. By the time we're about halfway through, or let's see, by the time we're through The Walking Dead Season 5, it will have more episodes. It will have had more episodes. Now, one thing from the episode guides, I'll put the links in the description to both of them so you guys can go ahead and take a look at both of them. One thing that surprises me is Breaking Bad actually did not do all that well in terms of viewers for the first, 4 seasons, which is really surprising. The most it got for any of them was late in Season 4. The premiere Season 4 got 2.5 million. Then Season 5 is really where it picked up. In the second half, it's weird. It's like the second half of Breaking Bad Season 5. You guys remember how they split it the last summer? So instead of showing all 16 episodes in one summer, they decided they'd show 8. And then the next year they'd show 8, and they'd have a big break in between. So it's almost like 6 seasons. The show didn't do all that well up until the final part of it. Now, the finale, Felina, did get over 10 million views, and the final part did do really well. But the highest it got, let's see, so 5 million, 6 million, and 10 million by the end in terms of popularity. The Walking Dead has actually been... the lowest it's ever had was Season 1, and the lowest that was 4.7 million. With the highest being 16.1 million, the premiere for The Walking Dead Season 4, at least as reported by their wiki. So it might not be 100% accurate, but usually they're pretty close. So, man, that's a huge difference. But I will say, for Breaking Bad fans, don't worry. I'm not going to say just because The Walking Dead is more popular, that means it's better. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, because, Justin Bieber is one of the most popular musicians in the world. Would I say he's the best musician in the world? No. So that's just popularity, but it is worth putting out there in the video when we're comparing the two, that The Walking Dead is a more popular show. It's more popular, more accessible for people. Breaking Bad for me is a pretty incredible series. It's one that it starts off, and it kind of starts off as like a black comedy with some drama, of course, mixed in based on the circumstances. But it more has a comedic feel at the beginning, especially like the first season. There's a lot of funny jokes. There's a lot of funny situations. And I'll always remember the one drug dealer from Season 1, one of the first ones they meet. I think it's 8 Ball or something like that, with his cousin or something, when he basically gets free and he goes running down the street, or he's running down the street, and Walt sees him, pulls over, and the guy looks back and sees him, and he starts running as fast as he can, but he's so disoriented that he runs straight into a tree. He just gets KO'd by the tree. Just didn't see the tree coming. And just the way it's shot and everything, there's a lot of really, really funny humor in the show. It goes from that at the beginning to more and more serious, more and more dramatic as we go through. Of course, there's a cancer thing, so that's always there. So that's always a part of it too. And by the end, it basically takes this character, Walter White, and it turns him into a television legend, I would say. Just an amazing, amazing character. And I would also say that they actually, based on the initial premise of the series, I think they did better than I would have expected them to do. So I think they actually surpassed what I would have thought was possible for that type of series. Breaking Bad should not have been as good as it ended up being. It ended up being, just based on the writing, based on how how well laid out everything was, how well organized, and how perfect it was by the end. And I'll use the word perfect because, I mean, every loose end was tied up. Everything was just like it was set up so well for the last couple seasons and finished off so well at the same time. So incredible writing in Breaking Bad. Absolutely amazing stuff in it. It really doesn't get a lot better than what they did with Breaking Bad right up to the end. I'll say that. Now, one thing about it is it was only 5 seasons, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to end a series after a certain amount of time because you know when it's going to start. It'll have a beginning, it'll have a middle, and it'll have a definitive end. Rather than a series just going on forever and seemingly getting canceled at some point or something of the sort. You know, you go through different producers, you go through different writers and different casts and all this stuff, and it just gets convoluted over time. There's just so much of it that it's like, it's not concentrated, it's not focused. So Breaking Bad, I would say its biggest strength is that from beginning to end, it runs like a long movie where everything just feels right, it fits together, and it just works. Wow. So that's not an easy series to beat, I will say. In terms of quality, yes, the popularity may not be there, but in terms of quality, if you talk to anybody who's watched the series all the way through, I would guarantee you that they would tell you that it's amazing. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that watched Breaking Bad all the way through and didn't say, this is like one of the best series I've ever seen, if not the best. So definitely with this matchup, I think The Walking Dead has its work cut out for it. The Walking Dead has had some trouble behind the scenes now over the seasons. We've gone through a couple different showrunners that have sort of different direction. They handle things a little differently. The show has a lot of different feel at different times, and it's not set up to be conclusive within a certain time frame. The Walking Dead is more open-ended to where we've been through 4 seasons, but who knows how long it could go for. It could go on for 10, 15, 20 seasons with no surprise if that was the case. Even the I think it was VP for AMC said that the series could go on for 20 seasons or something. Who knows, right? Go through all the characters that are on the series, Rick and everybody, and eventually have a totally new cast with the show. Then of course they're adding on the spin-off series too, which is additional. But with regards to the initial series and what we've seen so far, it does have a hugely different feel than Breaking Bad, where it's not that contained, that like a contained, focused story about certain characters, and when those characters are gone, the story ends, right? The Walking Dead is not necessarily like that. The Walking Dead is more open-ended. So I think that's a big thing right there, is what people like in terms of the series, in terms of over time, when it's over, which one do they look back on and say, okay, I like this one better than this one. So that's that with regards to that. The Walking Dead changes, even the episode numbers and the seasons. Frank Darabont to start, Glenn Mazzara, and then of course with season 4 the film runner or showrunner Scott Gimple. Right, he's going to be returning for season 5, so hopefully it'll have a lot of the same feel. But Breaking Bad, for the most part, aside from maybe the comedic to more serious drama type feel, it feels mostly the same throughout the series. It feels mostly like one direction, one movie, one series. The Walking Dead kind of feels like, it changes a lot throughout. Now we got the governor. Before that, we had Shane. Before that. And yes, there is Gus, and the thing with Gus. And yeah, I guess that's kind of somewhat similar in Jack and all that in Breaking Bad. But I don't know. For some reason, to me, The Walking Dead feels more kind of more like it's the story itself has changed over time, the characters and everything, all the characters that are lost and everybody. Like, for example, in Breaking Bad, Skyler's still in the series at the end of the series. She's not dead or something like that, right? Even though there are other characters that do die, like Hank and others like that. So The Walking Dead is not as concentrated, it's not as focused on sort of one theme, and it kind of changes themes over time, I would say, whereas Breaking Bad's always kind of focused on a similar type theme for the most part. So there is that. Now, in terms of how things go in the long run with The Walking Dead, if the quality is able to stay, where it's at right now, hopefully the story of Rick will be self-contained, that part of it. If the series goes on without Rick later, I'm talking way in the future right now, then we have kind of a different type of story where, The Walking Dead can be about that world and not just the characters. Like Breaking Bad is not really about the Breaking Bad world. It's really about like even the title refers to Walter. He's like the core focus of the story. The Walking Dead, I don't feel that way with Rick. I feel like eventually it may shift to somebody else, or he may not be the lead anymore, depending. So huge differences, of course, there. One being a survival horror, obviously in a zombie apocalypse. The other being kind of, I don't know what you'd call Breaking Bad. I guess kind of like a character drama and study of evolution in characters and how extreme circumstances can change people into something completely different. So, yeah. So with regards to the worlds, I mean, that's going to be probably the biggest consideration right there is what do people like better? Because they're both done in terms of quality really well. Which type of world are you more interested in? Are you more interested in Breaking Bad, which is sort of like the real world, but you have sort of these, different elements of what's happening with Walt and him trying to breaking the law, Breaking Bad, so to speak, to try and satisfy a means before he dies, and he's basically sure he's going to? Or do you prefer the type of story which is like The Walking Dead, which is a more survival horror, where everybody's basically trying to survive, and they don't necessarily know they're going to die, but they're doing absolutely everything they can to survive. You have villains coming in, you have things standing in their way, and you have a struggle in both series. One to attain the goal, the other to basically survive as long as possible and have some kind of a life in a zombie apocalypse over the long term. So both pretty amazing series. In terms of which one I like better, which one I enjoy better, you guys already know the answer to it, basically, if you've watched the channel for a while. But I will say it's not by that much, though. It's not by that much. The thing, though, about it is that Breaking Bad, for me, the last two seasons, seasons 4 and 5, the show is like one of the best shows ever. And I would probably put it at my second favorite series ever with those two seasons. Season 5... is just like, especially the second half, is mind-blowing. That's how good it is. It's like, wow, this can't really have turned out as well as it did. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So Breaking Bad, right up there, second favorite series ever, pretty much. The Walking Dead, my number one favorite series there is, just based on that survival horror aspect. That's kind of what I like, not knowing what's going to happen next, not knowing who's going to survive, who's going to die, not knowing, and sort of like, I do like zombie stories as well, getting to see over long term how lots of different characters change over time in this kind of circumstance versus just sort of like Heisenberg and maybe some of the others like Jesse and them. The Walking Dead, we get a lot more concentration on different characters surviving. So even though The Walking Dead is my favorite, and I'll say that I do enjoy it more, I think in terms of quality, if we're talking about quality and how well each show's done, okay, can I say that The Walking Dead is of better quality than Breaking Bad? I'm going to go a limb. I don't think anything's better quality than Breaking Bad. In terms of what they set out to do in Breaking Bad and the quality, too, of what they did it, which surpassed, I think, anybody's expectations. Bryan Cranston's acting, the others, too, a lot of amazing actors in the series, but especially the writing and the way it all ties in. By the end, I would have to say that even though The Walking Dead is my favorite, I can definitely see if people like Breaking Bad more, if there's people out there that do, and I'm sure there are. And I will go out on a limb and say that Breaking Bad has been handled better than The Walking Dead. It's been done better. So in terms of the story in that type of series, it's been done to a higher quality than The Walking Dead has. It's just that I find the type of story The Walking Dead is telling in that world to be my absolute favorite, whereas Breaking Bad being my second favorite that I've ever seen. So both amazingly incredible series. I could see you going either way with it. If you've seen them both, which one you like better, which one you think is a better quality. I'm going to say I like The Walking Dead better. It's my favorite, but I can definitely see and just sit there and just be wowed by the amazingness that is Breaking Bad. The beginning, the middle, and the end of what basically is like a 62-episode movie on Heisenberg, Walter White, and his transformation in his life right up to the end. It really doesn't get any better. It can't be done. I don't think it can be done any better than what they did with Breaking Bad. I don't think it's possible. I really don't. For that type of story. It depends what kind of story you like, but for that type of story, it just can't be done any better. So in terms of the video, The Walking Dead versus Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead favorite, but Breaking Bad, I'm going to have to say, takes this one. Breaking Bad wins because I view it, even though it's not as popular, as of higher quality, as of being done better than The Walking Dead has been done. So don't misinterpret me. Don't think I'm hating on The Walking Dead. No, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I believe, comparing both, the one is of better quality than the other, even though I like the other more and I enjoy it more and it's my favorite. So I hope that makes sense. And I can definitely see if people were like, Breaking Bad's my favorite and I think it's done better. Or, you know, I guess I could see people and reasons why they would say, I think The Walking Dead is my favorite and I think it's been done better than Breaking Bad. I wouldn't argue with you, but I just personally, from my view, think Breaking Bad is of the best quality you could possibly make a drama series. Anyway, kind of a lengthy video. Sorry for going on for too long, guys. If you, hopefully you liked it. If you did, please like it below. If you want to help support the channel, feel free to add it to favorites. Feel free to share it on Facebook if you have an account. And yeah, it's pretty much all I have to say for this one. If you guys missed my Walking Dead Season 5 Death Predictions video, I'll put a annotation right here so you can go ahead and click that to check it out. And if you want to see some of my old reviews for Breaking Bad, just search it in the channel. There's tons there. Tons of reviews. Even an overall series review if you kind of want to hear my overall thoughts on the series in more detail than I did in this video, because for sake of time, didn't want to expand it. Anyway, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trap, as always. Saying peace.